Greetings, students, and welcome to another fun-filled day here at Horror in the Halls. What's up, kids, and welcome to Horror in the Halls. I'm Bob, aka Mr. Holland.
And I'm Jenny, aka Mrs. Hill.
And we're just two high school teachers talking about the spooky stuff we love. March is Horror Hijinks Month here in the halls, where we celebrate all things horror comedy. And in this week's lesson, evil just messed with the wrong hillbillies, as we discuss 2010's Tucker and Dale versus Evil. This movie's my spirit animal.
No, this is my one of my favorite movies. So
it's such a good movie. Like it is. It needs way more praise than it gets. It really, really does. It's a great film. It's hilarious, and it's like a good take on this genre, which I think is awesome. It's a good addition to the horror comedy lexicon.
If I need a good laugh, and I'm having like the most wretched week ever, this is my go-to movie every time.
I know. I wish I could have talked to Alan Tudyk about his role in this when I met him at Star Wars Celebration. Like, oh, by the way, I love you and Tucker and Dale.
Because it's so good.
This is great, man. Everyone loves him for, like, you know, Firefly and Star Wars. I'm like, yeah, but Tucker and Dale, you're kind of my jam. I love you in that movie. Oh, Tucker McGee. Anyway.
I do love Tucker. I love both of them. Very equally for different reasons, but equally I love them both.
If I had to pick one that I love, it's Dale. I love Tyler Labine anyway. Since he was in Reaper, I've loved him. His character is funny to me.
No, that show did not last long enough.
No, it should have got 58 seasons, dude. Get on here with old Bert Wysocki. It's my favorite. He's so funny. I'll watch any show that he's in just because he's in it, even though some of them are terrible. But if I see him, I'm like, okay, Tyler Labine's in this. Go watch it.
Yeah, he's great.
He's in that escape room movie, which is you should definitely see. It's really good.
Okay, I didn't know he was in that.
Yeah, Erin made me watch it. I was like, I'm not watching it. I don't give a shit about this stupid movie. And she's like, just watch it. I swear it'll be good. And then I watched it. I was like, this movie was really good. And it's got a really good cast. Tyler Labine's in this bad boy. Anyway, so let's get to the deets, and then we'll get into the movie. So, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Release date was January 22nd, 2010. Pretty sure it started... It did some premieres, some festival scene. I think it was at Sundance and South by Southwest, which is pretty of a big deal for all these kind of indie sorta-ish indie adjacent horror movies. Got a running time of 89 minutes. It's directed by Eli Craig, which is interesting about him. He's Sally Field's son, which is interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's strange. This was his directorial debut. He was an actor before, but it says he was an actor. My guy was in like 6 movies, and one of them is Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Okay.
One of them's a short, actually. So he was in 6 actual films, and the other one was this. Actually, matter of fact, one of these is a show. He was like in nothing. He was in The Rage. Like, you're barely an actor. He was an extra. But anyway, he was in this. He directed another movie called Little Evil. It's kind of interesting. It was a Netflix show. It was strange. It's like, it looks almost like a take on The Omen, sort of.
Okay.
Pretty decent. He also wrote this movie. So it's written by him and then Morgan Jurgensen. They both kind of wrote it together. So it's a little bit kind of nod. You got full scope of interest there.
Oh my gosh, I love the writing in this. It's so good.
It's great. It's really good. We'll get into a little bit of that later. I got some fun facts about that are hilarious. But no, it's it actually premiered at Sundance. It won the audience award at South by Southwest. I mean, I can see why. If I was at South by Southwest in 2010, I would have picked this movie because it's freaking great.
Mm-hmm.
The cinematography part is my favorite. It's David Geddes, which is, he's mostly TV, but he's done a ton of stuff, like of TV movies, and I think he did Halloween Resurrection, and then like a bunch of TV shows. I looked through, and he has like his filmography of cinematography is massive, but it's all like TV movies and stuff. Like, he did a bunch of MacGyvers and shit. He's been doing this since like 1976. My dude's been on there killing it that long. I'm trying to find if there's anything else on this list. He did like 41 episodes of 21 Jump Street. That's awesome. The show is terrible. The movies are good. He also did Ernest Rides Again and Ernest Goes to School. So he's got my heart with that.
Movies.
He got my heart with the Ernest movies. He also did Slam Dunk Ernest. I missed that one the first time. He's got my heart with that. Anyway, I think he did a good job, especially with all of the moving camera work. Yes. I think he is pretty impressive, especially being because I think he's kind of old. Yeah, he was born in 1949. This dude's killing it. He's Canadian because this movie was, of course, shot in Canada, primarily in Canada, like most movies these days. It was not successful. It had a $5 million budget. It only made $5.5 million. So it barely
Aw, it
made back
sucks.
its own budget, which does suck because it really was a good movie.
It was a good
But
movie.
I think some of the review scores kind of attest to that. It has an 85 on Rotten Tomatoes in both critics and audience. They're both 85, which I thought was kind of
That's
interesting.
that's pretty cool.
Usually see one or the other that high. It's cool to see them both that high. It's a 3.6
Mhm.
on Letterboxd. Great film. Like I said, hilarious like plot line, two just unwitting hillbillies. It's a whole big case of just like mistaken intentions.
I
Great
know, my
film.
gosh. It's so good. Like
Great film.
both of them are so freaking sweet in their
But I
own
think
right.
that's what makes the difference though, is that I think it's kind of it hurt it and helped it, right? It's good because who they cast. But who they
Mhm.
cast hurt it a little bit because they're not really indie actors. You know what I mean? Like in 2010, Alan Tudyk was fairly big, coming off not Supernatural, Firefly and all the other stuff. Like he was kind of a
Mhm.
known person. Tyler Beane's in a ton of stuff. So of course you got Tyler Bean as Dale Dobson, Alan Tudyk as Tucker McGee, Katrina Bowden. She's the other kind of main cast. She was in 30 Rock, I think, and a couple other things. She's really awesome. Does a great job. Oh, Jesse Moss over here is Chad, and of course he's named Chad. He's the most Chad ever.
He really
That dude
is.
is the chattiest Chad I've ever met in my entire life. Never met him,
Oh,
but
good.
he's a good actor
I
because
hate
obviously,
Chad.
yeah,
Oh,
Chad sucks. He sucks. You got Shaylin Simmons as Chloe, Philip Granger as Sheriff Gurr, Brandon J. McLaren as Jason. That dude was a Power Ranger.
Okay, that makes sense.
Christy Liang as Naomi, Travis Nelson as Chuck, Alex Arsenault as Todd. I can't say that last name, but that's what we're getting. These dudes are for sure Canadian. Adam Chesney as Mitch, Joseph Allen Sutherland as Mike. You got Karen Rayleigh as Cheryl. You got Ty Evans as Chad's dad, which is funny that he's in there. Weezer as Jangers the dog. I love Jangers with his little crazy
I
eye.
love Jangers.
And then the
Oh,
director, Eli Craig, and his wife Sasha are both at the very beginning as the reporter and cameraman.
okay.
So that's pretty much the majority of the cast.
Mhm.
I mean, this movie starts off great. Like I said, it's a good commentary on like your assumptions, right? Like I assume these dudes are murderous hillbillies, and really they're just two like good old boys who just want to go have a vacation home. You know what I mean?
Go fix up their vacation home in the
Yeah.
woods. Go fishing.
I like these when he's in that point when they're talking about hitting on the college girls. He was like, "Tell her you got a vacation home." He's like, "These girls grew up with vacation homes."
And guys like me cleaning their toilets.
Yeah, toilets.
It's so good.
It
I love
really
this
was.
movie. There's
It
so
really
many
was.
good one-liners, but they're all like very well placed. I love it so much. I could quote this whole movie. It's terrible though. I've seen it so many times.
It's yeah. It's a great movie. If you've not seen it, after you listen to this, go watch it. You can listen to this whole podcast. I can give you word for word what happens, and you would still laugh your butt off when you watch the movie.
Yes, because it's not the same.
No,
It's not the
no.
same as actually experiencing the movie. It's so good. Oh
I mean,
gosh.
really, I think the whole movie could be summed up in like one line that Tucker says, which is my favorite, when he's like, "Oh, howdy ho, officer. We've had a doozy of a day." There we were, minding our own business, just doing chores around the house when kids started killing themselves over my property. And I'm just like, that's great. That's the whole plot of the whole movie.
It is.
Two well meaning guys have a doozy of a day with these kids who just start dying everywhere.
Yes, and oh my gosh, and they inflict the worst things on themselves. It's
Oh,
so
dude.
good. Oh my
100%.
god.
100%.
Oh, I love it.
So what'd you think of it?
Well, it's literally it's seriously one of my favorite movies. So, and I anytime I get real excited about watching it, there's that music that they have in it, and it's just a whistle.
Yeah.
And it's like, do 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 do. That's my favorite so much. I'm like, why is that so good? As soon as I like, if I'm having like a really bad day, and Johnny's like, "What are you gonna watch?" And I just do that. I just make that little sound, and he's like, "Oh my god, you're gonna watch that again?" Yes, Sam.
It's worth watching
And
over and over and over again.
it is. I mean well. I just have to have a laugh, and I laugh every time. So
Yeah, because it's
there's
funny.
because you know how sometimes you watch a comedy movie like multiple times and it stops being funny. This one does not stop being funny. So I don't know. I just love it.
Yeah, I can
And
see
I have
that.
a titty tally for this one, and it's two. One with a bra, one without. So that was important to note.
Got to put it out there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the one
Chloe
girl is in
shows
her
her
bra all the
boobs.
time. Of course she does. She looks like the one that would show her boobs.
Yes,
Like,
she's the slutty trope.
yeah, on purpose. She's the girl that should have died first, for real, for doing it in a
Yeah,
sleeping bag. Like if it
she
was a Friday
survived
the
a long
13th
time.
movie, yeah. So she's one of the last kills in the movie. If this was
I
a
know,
Friday the
right?
13th movie, she'd have died early on. She'd have been doing it in a tent, and Jason would have cut him up because
Yep.
she's that girl.
Yes, she is that girl.
She plays that part well.
She does. Her and her. I like how Naomi calls her shoes stripper shoes, but they were just wedges. But she's freaking running through the woods in those with her purse
That's what I'm saying. She has the
the
best
whole
fitness out of
time.
all of them, dude. She is forever running with those shoes on like a champ. I was like, dang, I'd have died. I couldn't run in tennis shoes that much. She's over here like, check me out.
I know her calf muscles are probably like just swole.
For sure. Dude, we need to buy this movie on DVD or Blu-ray because apparently there is a feature on the DVD that reverses the movie from the kid's perspective, where you
Oh
see
my
Tucker and Dale as
gosh,
murderous villain hillbillies.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm like, dang, man, I don't buy physical media anymore, but I may step out of that rule just to buy this one to watch that. 'Cause I bet that's funny.
That is funny because in the beginning when he's got the huge freaking sickle,
Oh no, he's over there like, hey,
y'all, you guys going camping? Starts
I
laughing.
know. That's what I love about this, though. It's like two really well-meaning guys who are just like,
Yeah.
Tucker's trying to help Dale with his self-confidence. Go over. He's being a good buddy. They're just,
He's like, go, just whatever you do, just smile and laugh.
yeah.
Like, no, not with that in your hand. It's
not
stupid.
not holding a sickle and right after you say something. Y'all going camping? Whoa.
So
And
stupid.
then Chad jumps up in Chad fashion with some like martial arts poses.
I know. He is so ridiculous.
He is what the
He's
word.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that dude's a douche for sure.
He is. Oh my
With his
gosh.
popped collar polo and stuff.
Oh my gosh. I always mention that. I'm like, he's so annoying. It's obnoxious with his stupid popped collar.
He's like, hey,
Oh.
what's up? I'm like, get out of here, you stupid. Yeah, he's so dumb.
Yes, he is. But that's what makes it so much better too. Like he's trying to hit on Allison and she's not feeling it.
Oh, when she's like,
And then Dale,
because we're the beautiful people.
I know,
We should
right?
be
And she's like,
together.
what? She's like, what? Like,
I know.
no.
He's like, huh?
It's like, stop trying to kiss me, you weirdo.
Yeah, he was very rapey. Like that dude got
Yes, he
accused.
was.
He's been accused of date rape on college campus multiple times, like for sure.
Right?
For
Weird.
sure. All those dudes are like, oh hey girl, but look at me, I'm a beautiful person. It's terrible.
It is terrible. Let's see.
Love it. Though.
Where do we want to start? I mean, there's so much stuff that's good in this, and I don't even know what to pick first.
I don't know. I can throw out some cool fun facts because apparently there were some of the things that like Tyler and Alan brought to the characters, like the whole like when he gets the bee sting thing, which is a great scene altogether. So it's like the first college kid kill.
Yeah.
He's running through the woods, like, and he apparently at that scene he wanted that it was in the script that he was going to cut it with a chainsaw, and he said, "All right, cool," but I want to act like Leatherface, so the way he's moving is modeled after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, how Leatherface is dancing in the field. So that's why he's kind of moving like that with the chainsaw when bees are getting chased. Then, of course, the other kid is freaking out and running. But it was his idea, apparently, to just pour beer on his face. Like, this is something Tucker would do. Just cold beer on his face.
I know. He uses it for everything.
Yeah. Brought you this nice PBR, buddy. But yeah, that was his idea, apparently.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk brought that to the character, which is great.
I mean, that part was so good. His face was so swollen. He's like, what happened to your face? He was like, I saw it through a bee's nest. He's like, why? He's like, well, I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. Why'd you do that? It was funny is that was one of the first scenes Eli Craig and Morgan Jurgensen came up with. So the wood chipper scene and the chainsaw chased by bees scene were the two first scenes they had before they had a plot or characters or anything.
That wood chipper scene was probably my favorite scene of the whole movie.
Well, it's iconic. As soon as you see it, you're like, somebody's
that
doing
and
wood chipper.
That and the Janger scene with the hate when he's got his dog and oh my god, I love it so much.
Dog with one eye. Jangers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, so the beginning makes me laugh because it all starts with them going skinny dipping, but they're out fishing.
Yeah.
He's night fishing.
I like how he's like, when you talk to the girl taking her clothes off, you don't say my name, Dale.
He was like, well, you're being a peeping Tom. Like, I loved it so much because he's such a good person. And he looked and he's like, Tucker.
Yeah, you don't say my name, Dale.
It's so good. Oh my gosh.
There's so many misconceptions, like not misconceptions, but like misunderstanding. Like when they first get pulled over and his shirt's stuck on the steering wheel. And then he's all
Yep.
shirtless and they're all sweaty. And the cop's like, okay. What were y'all doing?
Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, my friend's like," what did he say? He's like striking out with the ladies, and we're going up here to spend time at my vacation home.
Yeah. Okay.
He's like, "There isn't nothing up there but pain and suffering on levels you can't even imagine." And he was like, "Okay."
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
It's okay.
He was
He was
accurate.
like, "Whoa,
He was accurate.
yeah, right." Oh my gosh.
Lots of
That
pain,
was so
lots of
good.
suffering.
And when they pull up to the cabin, it does look super sketchy, but their response was, "Oh my god, it's perfect."
I know,
It's
right?
so oh my god.
Apparently, Eli Craig showed the production designer pictures of the cabin from Evil Dead and then the other one from Wrong
Yeah.
Turn and said mix them together.
I mean,
So that's why the
the
front is very reminiscent of Evil Dead. And then inside all those
yeah.
bones and stuff, like it's got a lot of Wrong Turn
Must
mixed
be
with
an
Evil Dead.
archaeologist or something,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they're only excited about this chili dog coupon. Look at
I
this.
know.
Never expires. Chili dog
Yeah,
coupon.
and all around it is the newspaper clippings of, like, the massacre, and they just looked right over that.
Oh, dude.
Found
They're
the
just
coupon.
well meaning good old boys, man.
I know, it's so good. Oh gosh. But, yeah, it starts from that point. But actually, it started before that at the gas station. Oh my gosh, that was so good. Because when they walk in, even the gas or the guy that owns the gas station was like, "You see them kids, how they looked?"
Yeah.
Like, they were judging them too, so it was so good. Like, everybody's judging everybody. It was
Yeah.
good.
Well, this whole movie is like, don't base a book on judge a book by its cover, right?
Yeah,
You're looking at these
yeah, and
people
you did
like,
anyway.
oh, these are silly, drunk college people. And they're like, oh my God, these are dumb rednecks, toothless hillbillies over here. And that's what they kind of think was going on. I thought that was really interesting take on how the movie was done.
Yes, that they did a really good job with that because it had so many different like facets of like different movies, and they just compiled it so well, and they made Tucker and Dale such likable characters, and I was like, that is so good because all the college kids were the worst.
I
So,
know, right?
and you're like, gosh, I hate all of you. You're the worst, except for Allison.
Yeah,
Like,
Allison's the
obviously,
only
she's
okay one. Well,
yeah,
the other ones start off trying to be okay. They're like, hey, Chad, man, this is not a good idea. And Chad's like,
yeah, like
no, we're going to
Mitch. I
kill
think
some
Mitch was
people.
the only one
We're going to
that
kill
kind
people.
of yeah.
Uh,
Mitch and Allie.
there was another one. Jason like goes along with it, but he tries to be like, dude, we should leave. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, nah, man, we're gonna get these hillbillies back. We're getting
Yeah, Chad
Allison.
was the worst. Like, everybody else was like, "Maybe we should just get out of here." Like,
Yeah, go get the
they were
police.
ready to just leave Allison there forever.
He just hates hillbillies, man. He hates hillbillies.
I know. He brought them out there for a reason,
To kill hillbillies. Dun, dun,
to
dun.
kill all the hillbillies. That's why he was practicing with his axe. That drove me nuts. I'm like,
Yeah,
he thought he was just so badass with
he
his
did, dude.
axe.
He did. He should have been in the sleeveless shirt. His name should have been Billy. My name's Billy Badass. I'm awesome.
Oh my
Apparently,
god.
Alan Tudyk and Tyler Being just like spent time hanging out together to bond. That's why their characters are so close. Like they just would be after set was over, just hanging out.
Yeah, well, it looked like they were best friends forever.
Yeah,
Just saying,
it
like it
does.
was
Like it's
so
like okay.
good.
Another thing I learned while I was doing a little bit of research that I think is super gross, and it kind of plays with them hanging out after set. Apparently, Tucker and Dale only have one outfit, and over the movie, it progressively gets worse. So
Hmm.
Alan Tudyk apparently was not happy that there was not like an option to change. They got one set, and as towards the end of production, it was covered in so much blood that when they got there, they had to soak them in water to get them to loosen up because the syrup was so dried on it.
Oh, that's
So
terrible.
they're like cold all the time.
You
And it was
know,
in
it
like Canada, so it was cold, cold. Like,
yeah, so because but that makes sense because their outfits look so gross by the end of the movie. So
because it's
that
been the
makes a
same
lot of
ones.
sense.
Yeah, same ones
Oh,
from Jump Street.
that's terrible.
Yeah. And apparently, like, they were saying in this thing I was reading that you'd come in and they would be like super stiff. They'd have to soak them in water to loosen them up. And they had to just wear them until they dried.
Oh my gosh, that is so bad. I
Oh,
would be
yeah.
so and imagine what they smelled like.
Oh, dude.
I bet they were hard to
Well, yeah, they
just
probably smelled like
wear.
rotten syrup over how many days it was. Like, that's like if it was a longer shoot, yeah, that's gross.
It is gross.
They're
And
walking
then
around
out
spraying them dudes with Febreze all the time.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
They had one outfit, man, from their hats to their feet, one outfit. Apparently,
Yeah,
Tyler Levine
that's not
chose the
good.
Giver hat too.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I love all the aspects that's in there. It's so good.
Apparently, that's the
Um,
Canadian equivalent of "Get Her Done."
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, which is
I
kind of
love that they're
funny.
drinking PBR too.
Good old
It's so
PBR.
good.
Got you a
I
nice cold
know.
PBR here, buddy.
Oh goodness. So the scene where they all all the college kids decide that they're gonna rescue Allison because they think that she's having to dig her own grave, and it's really just her digging a shitter hole
Yeah.
apparently for the outhouse. She's like, "I'll help you do it."
Yeah,
He's
I
like,
grew up on a
"Okay."
farm.
That was so good, and all the kills in that scene were so good.
And the whole movie are good. Like, every
I know,
kill.
but these were my favorite. I think it's because the reaction of Tucker and Dale are just the best.
I know. All right, let's get into them then. So, this
Yeah.
week we got a new section here. I'm gonna call it the roll call of death. You know, teachers take attendance every day, so that's what we're gonna do for these movies. So we'll start at the beginning and go through them all, and we can decide which one's our favorite towards the end. So the first kill we see on camera is the reporter, which is actually Eli Craig's wife, getting bashed in the face by that pipe, like bludgeoned to
Yeah.
death essentially by crazy charred Chad.
He's so charred
I
too.
know,
His whole head's charred.
super burnt, dude. Come on, he looks like the hot dog got left on way too long.
Yeah. He does. It's like
He's
half of his
gnarly,
face
dude.
is black.
He's like, brr. And then the camera
Mm.
operator, which is named Billy, he also is bludgeoned with a pipe. That's the director, Eli Craig. And then it cuts to there's not another death. I think he tells that story when they first are at their camp and they're talking about it
Mhm.
being scary. And Chad's like, "You know, a real scary story."
Yeah, he is so lame.
Oh,
But
he is,
yeah.
dude. He is the chattiest Chad ever. And he's the dude that tries to be super cool and let me tell you this cool story. I might be scared. So
He's
he tells
not
about
at
the
all.
Memorial Day massacre, and just like the dude from the '80s, the super '80s looking guy with the mullet and the glasses gets that saw blade thrown straight into his face,
I know, right?
which is gnarly. After that gross hillbilly scratches his neck with it and is all bleeding real crazy,
I know.
which was nuts. And that one, this is the part of the movie where the digital effects look like trash because those both look super fake, but it looked cool too. Like when he hits him in the face with that saw blade, I don't even want to think about how much force it would need to be thrown in
Oh, I
that
know.
situation. Then you got the super '80s girl
Captain
stabbed in
America
the neck.
at
That's what
his
I'm saying.
face.
Come on. Come on, Steve Rogers.
Sorry, I
How'd
had
you
to
throw that
say
like
it.
that? That's 100% true. How'd you bury half a saw blade in somebody's skull? Like it was nothing.
Right?
It wasn't like he was close to him either. He threw that thing from like 15 yards away. Like you got
I'm
some
saying.
power, my friend. I'm impressed. Dude's
After
been
he changed their music over, I made a note of that because it
oh
was
dude.
"Pump Up the Jam" was what they were listening to, and
Yeah.
then they switched it over to some country song that, only caught a little bit of the lyrics, but it was like, "I'm gonna meet my maker."
Oh yeah. It's about dying.
It's
Some
like,
country song
yeah, I
about dying.
know. It's
They're
like,
like,
that's
whoa.
terrible.
And they're just chilling, oh hey dude, what's up, bro? No, I'm like, what the hell is going on, man?
I know, right?
I wanted those cars they had there, but yeah. So Hillbilly throws Steve Rogers a saw blade into somebody's face. We'll call him Captain Appalachia over there. Throws a saw blade into somebody's face.
Captain Appalachia, it's terrible.
It's actually good because we live in Appalachian country, so
I
whatever.
I know, we were allowed to say it. We're
We
allowed to
don't
say
actually. I'm nowhere near those
No,
backwoods
but
doot doots.
we live closer.
We're
And
Appalachian adjacent. We are in
yeah,
Kentucky, I guess. So sorry,
yeah.
doot doots here. And then the '80s girl stabbed in the neck with the worst special effects ever. That looked like cartoon blood.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Just gushing out of her chest.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
mhm.
bad. It's so bad. Come on, dude. You couldn't have gotten a blade that sunk in. You could have made that really easy and practical. They've been doing it for years. So those are all in a flashback. There's nothing that actually happens yet. Then it cuts to what you were talking about. Chad being Chad, wanting to rescue Allison, and he makes this real stupid plan, super stupid plan. They're all got their weapons with their sharp sticks and whatnot. So hold up, no.
Wait,
I'm jumping ahead of
Mitch
myself.
is
Mitch is
first.
first. You're right. Mitch is first. Then you get to them. We're trying to sneak up on him. He sees a guy with the chainsaw. Tucker's running with the chainsaw. Mitch just runs into a sharpened stick.
Yeah, impales
Yeah,
himself
and they
real
have that
hard.
crazy scene where he's like, "Oh." It's almost like Mitch realizes that he was just running from bees as that bee flies by. He's like, "Oh, he wasn't trying to
Yeah,
kill
it
me."
was because he was the one that was trying to talk everybody out of being scared of him. He was like, maybe they're just maybe we just need to go up and knock on the door and ask if what's going on. And
Yeah.
they were like, are you crazy? And he's like, I don't know, I was just kind of saying it. And then he got freaked out by the chainsaw, which
Who
I would have
wouldn't?
too.
Yeah, who wouldn't get
Like,
freaked out of a
yeah,
dude just wheeling a chainsaw around like Leatherface? I'm like,
I
what
know,
the heck,
right?
dude? Although, I will say, and this always makes me laugh, chainsaws are made to stop if anything that is like hard hits
Hmm.
the blade. Like they're not hard to stop a chainsaw. They're like the worst weapon for a horror movie. I think I brought this up during our Evil Dead episode. They look cool and they're scary sounding, but they're like one of the worst things ever to use for a horror movie. But everybody's like, oh my god, it's got a chainsaw.
Yeah, I think it's the sound.
It is. I mean, if it hit your skin, it's going to cut, but like they get stopped up kind of easy. If you've ever used them before, you even bend it the wrong way half the time, and they'll stop. So it's like, come on, man, get out here. But that was a cool scene. He's running like and of course you got Leatherface hillbilly over there, which I mean Leatherface was a hillbilly, so it
And
worked
he
out.
goes the opposite direction
Yeah,
that they ran in.
yeah,
And
completely
that's what
opposite.
makes it funnier.
He's just running the other way, looking at like, why is this kid here? And I like that, like Tucker's realization, like what? And then and he's running away
Yeah.
still because he's getting chased by bees. I just
Yeah,
saw
and
your
his
friends out
response
there.
was so good. Yeah, I saw your friends out there. They must have been allergic to bees too, because they were
Yeah.
running like a bat out of hell.
Yeah.
Like,
And he's just pouring beer on his face.
I know, it's
And
so
that's a great
good.
interaction. So that's like that's like the 5th kill in this movie, and that's pretty early on, really.
Yeah.
Then we get to the ridiculous part where Chad comes up with a plan to attack them, and
Yes.
they're all arming
Catch them off
themselves with
guard.
nonsense.
Yes, much so stupid, the things that they
Yes.
had.
So
I don't even know what did Mike even have?
he had a tiny pocket knife, like a Swiss Army knife.
Okay, I was like, what is that
Yeah,
gonna
he's
do?
holding it above his head like he's gonna stab him. Like the blade is like 2 inches long, dude. Um, it would have hurt, but come on. He's not next though. That's a
I
cut.
know.
The next kill is probably the most ridiculous one, but also one of my favorites because it goes back to what you're talking about. Dale and Allison are digging a shitter hole essentially. That's what he says. Oh, it's for a shitter. And okay, and they're just digging this hole. And they run up, and he somehow inadvertently, this dude's running at him with a sharpened stick, smacks her in the face with a shovel and knocks her out again. And then
That's
dude
so
just
good.
falls on his own stick
Inside the shitter hole.
and just slides down
Right.
over top of Dale.
I know, right over top of Dale. And he's like screaming and crying. He's like, oh my God, oh
Yeah, he's like, oh, there's blood on my face.
my God. Oh my
And then
God.
comes probably one of the best is a Mike running full force. This is what doesn't make any sense. He's running full force. He's holding a knife like up, like underhanded, but up over his head like he's Michael Myers, right? And he's running full on. And I guess he trips or something, and then just goes
Well,
straight into the wood chipper.
I don't think he trips. I think he lunges at Tucker, but Tucker had moved out of the way to grab another piece of wood to throw into the wood chipper. And when he lunged directly into it because he like moved.
Yeah, but like, what did he think he was going to do? Lunging like that? Well, the way he was
I
holding
don't
the knife.
know.
What are you
Why would
doing?
you lunge anywhere near a
Yeah,
wood chipper?
that's what I'm saying. Straight
Like
in.
you're a dumbass.
And then
So you deserved all of that.
and then our, one the slutty girl we talked about earlier, she gets covered in his blood. Like it just shoots out at her, and she's like,
Now she's like, ah.
and she has like nothing. And then they all run away to regroup because 2 of the guys just got murked.
Yes, by their own means.
Their own
At the
implements,
same,
pretty much, other than the wood
yeah.
chipper, but still, like what? So we have 2 dudes so far impaled on a tree branch / wooden spear because I guess they used Chad's axe to sharpen the end of that stick, but it was sharpened on both sides, which is like the worst idea ever because then he like falls on it himself. But that stick was as long as he was, so I'm like, how the hell did you even do that? But okay,
I
whatever.
don't know.
It was hilarious and ridiculous.
It was so
It's like,
funny.
did you throw it like a spear and then miss and then trip? I don't know. A lot of tripping nonsense. They come back, they're talking about the kids having a suicide. I know what's going on here. This kid's got a suicide pact. They're trying to kill each
Oh,
other off our property.
he's like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense at all. Allison's knocked out, and this
Again.
again is she wakes up and they're like, "We're gonna go find your friend. You rest." And they get there, and I guess this is one of those times where Chad had thrown his axe into the tree, so they find the one kid dead. They find Mitch. Like these kids are killing themselves everywhere, and they leave a note, and the note just says, "We got your friend."
So stupid.
And I'm like, I can see how you misinterpret that. Like they got our friend. You know what I mean? Like not like, hey, we have your friend, come get her. We got your friend. And then it turns into
We
we
got
got
your
her,
friend.
your friend. And then Dale now wants to
Johnny
protect
was
her.
like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they hid and watched them do that entire time because that would have taken forever to etch that
That's what
with
I'm
an
saying.
axe into that piece of wood on the ground." I was like, "I know, it's so good though."
It just goes to show you how big of a punk Chad really was.
Yeah, I know, right?
You didn't have your axe, and then the two dudes you're trying to convince your buddies to kill are right there, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Nah, we're gonna hide for the 58 minutes it took to carve that in that tree because there's no way that was
There's
fast.
no. Oh my god.
Like, especially to make it look like you can read it. Like I've tried to carve like initials in trees and stuff, and it's always like sliding the wrong way. But you wrote like good looking letters in a tree with a hatchet. Good job, buddy.
That's so good.
All right, next on
So
our roll call of death. Were you gonna say something? Sorry.
no, I was gonna say the next one
Oh,
was what sheriff
it's probably my
when he
favorite,
next.
honestly. The sheriff is hilarious to me.
It's so.
So early on in the
Oh
movie, Dale saves Tucker from a loose beam. So you know something's going to come back from this beam later. It's like a gnarly
yeah,
trap. It's not even a loose beam. That is a trap in that house, 100%. So they get there. One of the kids who leaves originally, which one was it that left? Like, was it Chuck
Chuck.
maybe? Chuck leaves
Yeah.
originally. Yeah, he's the next death. To go get help. Sheriff, he finds the same sheriff in the beginning. Sheriff comes back. And this is when Tucker and Dale, so he shows up. Chad's like, y'all are stupid. All the kids get in the car. So they're all there to witness this. Tucker and Dale are
So
dragging
good.
half a body. So
From the wood
Mike, yeah,
chipper.
they got Mike's half body from the wood chipper. And Dale's all like, man, he's heavy for half a body. Because they
Oh
get him
my
out and he
god.
falls on him and stuff. So they're trying to drag it to hide it. Because, of course, Tucker's like, what are we going to tell people? That the kids just, killed themselves here on our property? They're going to think we did it. They get there. Of
Oh my
course, they're in the
god.
process of exactly what Tucker was afraid of happening when the sheriff gets there. He walks up, and then Dale says, "Oh, we got one in the cabin." He's like, "Show me." And Tucker's like, "Oh, Dale."
Yeah, because he made it worse because he goes, "You could talk to the one that's in there, but I knocked her out with my shovel and she's passed out." And he's
Yeah,
like, "Well, you best show me what you did with her." And I
yeah.
was like, Tucker's like, "God, you're so worthless."
Why'd you do that? Which
Oh
is funny
god.
in itself. But it seems like the sheriff is kind of like with them. Like, okay, I get it. This was a weird. Because to this point, they haven't killed anybody.
No.
It's all weird happenstance at this point. They go in. The sheriff's like, okay, okay, okay. He's kind of cool. And then he leans on that same pole. And my guy catches a gang of nails to the face. Like, so
So terrible.
many nails in his gnarly, and not like little nails either. Like
Like they're like all the way
tenpenny
down by his
long
like chin
nails.
and shit.
Yeah, they're big. He's like a reverse
Yeah.
pinhead at this point. It's all up in his face. And he walks out and they're like, they killed the sheriff. One of them goes, nah, he's walking it off. He's like, how do you walk that off? The sheriff's just
Dale's like, "How's he even walking right now, Tuck?"
I don't know.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
walking it off. And then they fall. Stupid Chuck jumps out of the car.
Oh my god, this is probably a fun. This is to me is funny too. I'm
It's
like, this is
ridiculous.
awful but funny.
He somehow, because he goes to shoot him, and Dale, being Dale, real helpful, says, oh, buddy, the safety's on right there. And Tucker's like, Dale, what? So, in the process
Oh
of figuring
god,
out how to turn the safety off, this kid shoots himself in the face.
stupid. He was like, "Oh no, don't do that."
Yeah, no.
Like,
Boom. Blood everywhere. The kids in the car are screaming like they're the ones who did it when this kid obviously shot himself in the face.
oh
Ugh.
my gosh.
And at this point, I'm like, what? And then, of course, at this, now that there's a gun in play, Chad's brave again. He
Yeah,
comes running
of
up out of
course
the
he is.
woods and grabs the gun. And this is one of those funny moments with all the continuity error because he shoots like 10 or 11 times
Yeah,
from a gun that
this is
has
one.
6 rounds in it, has already shot one. So he
I know.
shoots
I
like
mentioned
11
that to
times.
Johnny. I was like, "There's no way there's any bullets left of that gun."
No, there should have been 5. I think it's either 10 or 11, and just pow, 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 pow. Tucker and Dale are all dunking on for hiding and stuff. The rest of the kids are in the cop car trying to freak out, then they're back hiding again.
This is
Ridiculous amount of stuff.
Johnny always mentions this part because he thinks it's hilarious because in any other movie they would just show like a different type of nail gun, but it shows them like strapping it on and like all this like using the what is it called?
Compressor.
It's not a compressor, yeah. Like
Yeah.
turning the compressor on and doing all that stuff. And I'm like, he's like, that's how you actually use a nail gun. So he was like, it's so good.
It's like a
But
legitimate nail gun. He's like, yeah,
yeah.
firing back. Which to no avail. No one's getting hit with nails. No one gets shot. And then later they try to sneak in and have Chad he's brave again. They're gonna sneak in. They're gonna kill the hillbillies and burn their house down. Allison, of course, now is finally awake. Like, what are you talking about? They're not. They're fine. They're good people. Chad's like, nah, they're hillbillies. I hate hillbillies.
Yeah, Naomi's like, I know what this is.
Stockholm syndrome.
I know, it's so
And
stupid.
Allison looks at her like, you dumb bitch, what are you talking about? So then we get our next kill because they have this conversation. Because Allison, I'm in school to be a therapist. She like actually gets him to sit down. And then Chad tells us a story about why he hates red hillbillies so much.
Mm-hmm.
How at that massacre that he tells a story about, those were his parents. And his mom was the only survivor. But that his dad was burned alive in a giant oven. Like
Yeah, and his body
Hansel
was
and
never
Gretel
found.
style. Yeah, body was never found. He was burned to a crisp. Hansel and Gretel style. We see that, so that's our next death. It's Chad's fake dad burned alive.
His fake dad.
Yeah, it's great.
I know, it's so good.
And then we get to the next three all die kind of at one time, essentially.
Yeah, idiots.
I know, super.
All
stupid.
of it. Yeah, no, it's so ridiculous.
Because they're trying to talk. Dale's like, okay. Tucker's being Tucker. This is after. No, this was after they had strung Tucker up, wasn't it?
Yeah, and cut off his bowling fingers.
Cut off his bowling fingers. I forgot about that. Yeah. So they actually caught Tucker and are trying to like interrogate him or something. It's a whole series of nonsense. Just like whenever they're holding the gun on him, like the dog, and they end up trying to save the dog, and like there's no bullets left in that gun. Like, what are you doing? Why y'all worried about this? But yeah. So Jason, Chloe, and Naomi all die at one time because somehow or another Jason gets lit on fire, and Chad has
because Chad throws a lantern at him, and it busts.
Yeah, because he's dumb.
And then Chloe like throws probably moonshine or something on him.
Or kerosene. It was one of the two.
Or kerosene. Oh, okay. This probably was kerosene.
Dale's like, hey, don't do that. Don't use that. Lights him on fire even more. Lights herself on fire. Chad has already covered the whole house in gas, trying to like burn their vacation home down, which Allison's like, this is their vacation home. Don't burn down their vacation home. Everything catches on fire. Tucker, Dale, Allison get out pretty okay. Chad's craziness gets burnt half to a crisp, looking like Two-Face.
And she's
Batman.
like, maybe we should help him. And he gets up and he's like, rah, like that. And they were like, oh no.
No, fuck you. We're good. Leave. And they get in the car.
He like takes a big huff on his friggin' inhaler before he screams. That was so good.
Him and that inhaler the whole time is funny. He's like smoking, but then hitting the inhaler, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I know, he's dumb. I hate him so much.
And they try to have tea together. He's like, I can't have chamomile. It bothers my asthma. We're like, oh wow, you big old nerd.
She's like, no, it's Earl Grey. And Dale's like, oh, I love Earl Grey.
Yeah, I love a nice Earl Grey. But the whole thing is just so everybody's dead. You got all these like college kids dead, a sheriff's dead. Flashback people dead. There's 13 kills total in this movie that are on camera. Chad is super Chad now. He's all half burnt and crazy.
He's super Chad.
Yeah.
So true.
He's half burnt and crazy. Tucker, Dale, and Allison and Jengers are trying to get away. Dale wrecks the truck. Everyone's knocked out.
Like hard
wrecks the truck. Half a tree branch comes in, almost kills everybody. Poor Tucker's like, you wrecked my truck and you burned down my vacation home. They wake up, like Jengers is licking his face. But instead of Chad killing anyone, he just kidnaps Allison and left Tucker and Dale there. Like,
I know.
To die, or I don't know, because Dale is fine. Tucker's all jacked up in the corner. He gives him like a speech to make him feel good, like motivational speaker over here. Like, this goof is the reason
about frogs.
Yeah,
that was so good.
What was funny about that is that's because that actually ties into another one of my fun facts. Apparently, the reason why they talk about frogs like that is because Tyler Labine was actually in an X-Files episode in 1996 where he actually licked a toad. So he was actually on X-Files.
Oh my gosh. And that's why that's where that line came from.
Yeah.
Always made me feel kind of funny.
Yeah. I used to lick them. But yeah.
You used to let me lick the frogs. That always made me feel kind of funny. Yeah. It's so good.
He was in an X-Files episode called Quagmire in 1996.
Oh my gosh. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, I'm like, that's hilarious for no reason. But whatever. But yeah. Then we go to the best part of the whole movie. Like, it makes no sense at all. I guess he goes to like a ranger station or a logging camp. It's something.
It was like an old like sawmill type or
Super Chad's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Dale's like, he wants a scary hillbilly. I'll give him a scary hillbilly.
Yeah, and he just dresses up real
He
stupid.
has a whole montage of him like strapping on climbing spikes and like a welding helmet and all this stuff. Like he's putting on armor and this chainsaw. We get
Oh,
in
it's so
there
good.
and Allison is tied to a board like Looney Tune style.
Yeah.
Like, hey, yeah, we got you. Chad is crazy. Dale busts in, looking like a scary hillbilly. They have a fight with a stick versus a chainsaw, which should have been a short-lived fight. And the movie just goes off the rails from there, I think, a little bit at the end, because you're just like, what the hell is going on?
I know, and Dale leaves all the shit he needs downstairs with him.
Yeah.
And takes Allison up the stairs. And then they try to like block him off using the little doors.
Yeah, like a
with
stick.
wood.
Yeah, like a little stick.
Yeah. So you can like saw right through it.
And there was a couple things I was telling Aaron, like, first off, no company is leaving all that equipment there.
No.
An old giant saw table, maybe. You're not leaving chainsaws and like climbing equipment. Like maybe it wasn't like an old lumber mill. Maybe it was a still active lumber mill, maybe. I don't know. Either way, they get up there in this old room and they see the photo from the massacre, and then we figure out that
so
Chad's
good.
dad was a hillbilly. And he comes up there all mad with a chainsaw. Allison's like, wait, you're half hillbilly. And he acts like you just punched him in the gut. Like,
I know,
no!
right? He was distraught. He's like, no, it's a lie.
You're lying. I hate hillbillies. And he's like, no, you're half hillbilly. And, Dale's like, yeah, you're one of us. Like, what?
It's so good.
And then all this happens. Super Chad gets taken out by a packet of chamomile tea.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it
can't
so
breathe.
much.
And then falls out of the freaking rafter thing or where they're at. And then that's it. They're safe now. Super Chad is gone.
Dale was like, it's okay. He'll be okay as long as we get him his inhaler. And then he fell out. And that was so good. I was like, oh my gosh.
So even at the end, Tucker and Dale don't want to hurt anybody. Chad is Super Chad. He's the Chad of all Chads. He's in the dictionary next to the word Chad. It's him.
He really is.
And then we cut to Dale showing up at the hospital, is my favorite part. When Tucker's like, they sewed my fingers back on. They look okay to you? And one of them's painted red. It's a lady finger. And Dale's like, yeah, they look great. They look great. I actually came to bring you a PBR. Brings him an ice cold beer with a bow on it.
He's like, and I got your favorite sipping utensil.
Yeah.
It was like a little bendy straw. It was so good.
I got your bendy straw. That's your favorite sipping utensil. Thanks, buddy.
He's like, oh, bud. Oh, buddy. That's good.
He wanted that beer, man. He wanted that beer.
He sure did.
And then he's got a date with
that part.
Allison.
There's a part in the movie though where he says he got like relieved from the tree, and he was like, "This vacation sucks."
Yeah.
I forgot to say that. It's so good. He's having such a hard time. All he wanted was to fix up his vacation home.
I wanted to have a vacation home in the West Virginia hills.
I know, right?
Which is really Canada, but it did not work out for you, Tucker and Dale. Your vacation home was a fail.
It was
burned to the
major
ground.
fail.
Your truck is wrecked, and a bunch of people died on your property.
Mm-hmm.
On your property. This whole movie is about assumptions and how we should not make them.
No, it's so good.
Even at the very end of it, when Dale is telling his little redneck buddy, "You just gotta tell her how you feel," and then he ends up like knocking people out and kidnapping that woman, and Dale's like, "Oh, what the hell?" and just kisses Allison. You're just like, what?
Yeah, because she was like, "Should we go help her?" And he's like, "Hell, no, absolutely not.
No.
Like, we're not doing that anymore.
Now we're doing this. I ain't helping nobody." And then you find out at the very end that the movie actually started. The beginning is the end, and Chad is not dead.
No, Chad is out roaming around with his.
I need a Tucker and Dale part 2.
I know. I want it so bad.
But it made no money, so it's never going to happen.
I know, it's lame. They should still make it.
I'd watch it 100%. You put those two guys in there again, and all of a sudden Super Chad comes back. Maybe Dale and Allison got some kids in the future or something. Super Chad's like, you love a hillbilly? Like that one scene where like they're falling in love, and he gets all mad at her. You love him? What? You don't love me?
She said, are you not in love with him? And she's like, what is wrong with you?
What are you talking about?
He's like a psychopath.
He really is. He was crazy. Look at his whole life, man. He was crazy.
I know.
All right, you want to get into the rubric on this bad boy?
Yes, the rubric.
I'm sad it's not going to probably do as well as I love this movie, but I can't score it real high. All right, so we'll start with the rubric here, guys. We got the literary element, which essentially is the script, story development, dialogue, and character development. I think the script is hilarious. It is what it's
Mhm.
supposed to be. It doesn't have any pretense that it's going to be this like artsy movie or this really
No.
amazing horror film. It's just funny. You know what I mean? It's
It's hilarious.
horror comedy month. It is on there. It is one of those movies that's always funny. It's always ridiculous. I think the subtext about the making our assumptions is there and apparent. I mean, this is for sure maybe not a 25 for me, but definitely a 20.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I thought the writing was still good.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the characters are a little. There's almost no development for any character other than like Tucker, Dale, Allison, and Chad.
Yeah, and the rest of them just kinda suit the needs of, like, the normal horror
Yeah,
tropes,
they're just there to die.
like, they're there to die, and they're there to suit the
Yeah,
needs of that trope.
everyone that
So,
died was there to die. You're only in this movie to die.
yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's it. So what do you think? 20?
Oh, god. Yeah, 20's good.
All right. Effects design elements. So visual effects elements that connect to the narrative, set design, overall character design, gore, and practical versus digital effects. I gotta ding the flashback because it was so bad for a digital effect, whereas all the other ones are good. I don't understand why they did that. Like those flashback effects look like trash, but you literally have a dude getting cut in half in a freaking wood chipper and blood and gore going everywhere that looks great. The dude's impaled
Yeah.
on sticks looks great. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's not like big budget Hollywood, but for what it is, it looks really good.
It
I
does look
think.
really good. And
Um,
the nails in Sheriff's head was that
yeah,
those looked
and he's
like
just stumbling
legit. I was
around.
like,
It looked
"Gee."
good, you know. And so they when
It
they
did
used
look
digital
good.
effects, it looked like it wasn't good at all. The cabin was really cool. It was a good set design. It was creepy. It definitely conveyed the whole land with all the broken down trucks. And they showed like, oh man, you got a truck. Oh dang, there's a nerd truck. They're all excited, like which is what a hillbilly would be excited about, but it looks like somebody would definitely died there. So that set looked really cool. I liked the way Tucker and Dale looked. Like Alan Tudyk hated it, but I actually enjoyed that their costumes. There was no like, oh, they're clean again. It looked like I wore these over the course of 2 days, where a bunch of people died on me, and I was scared. Never changed my clothes, and that was how it looked. And I think I appreciated that a little bit because it did seem
Yeah,
legit. Yeah.
it as much as that was probably horrible to experience,
Oh, dude.
it did
Yeah.
look really good in the movie.
And then I had to give them a little prop because there was one thing I forgot to talk about earlier. When they're fishing, like a week before they filmed this movie, that lake they're on was frozen. So when they jumped in
Oh,
that water, it's like freezing water. Like they both almost got hypothermia for being in the water. Like Tyler Bean was like sick because he had to go in there for so many times. Some of those shots were like over and over and over again.
yeah.
The same
I
with
can see that.
Alan Tudyk when he was hanging upside down. He was upside down for so long that his eyes swollen. He had like headaches and stuff. It's dedication. It's
It
dedication.
is dedication. That's what I said. I keep saying it over and over again. Some of these actors, man, they'll just do the most.
Yeah, I ain't get hypothermia for nothing. It's not one of my children's.
Mm-mm.
So what do you think? 20?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. So the visual technical element, the overall aesthetic of the film is pleasing to the eye, lighting, creative camera shots, and movement and lens selection. There's not a lot of creative shots in this movie. There's no like big standout, like, oh my gosh, that was such a good shot. I mean, there's some
No.
cool slow-mo kind of stuff that was done. The aesthetic's fine. It just looks like a horror movie, right? There's nothing that really was like, oh wow. You know what I mean? Like, whew, okay. Good movement. There's a lot of movement with them running and doing different things, and the camera looks good. A lot of steady cam work. I'm thinking maybe like a 15
That sounds about right for me.
because there was nothing really that was like, oh man, it looks so good. You know what I mean? Like I was not impressed with anything. It was shot well. It wasn't bad, I think. But yeah, nothing crazy. And the sound, this is the one that is kind of there really isn't much sound to speak of. Like there's some, but nothing that like drives the plot, nothing that really adds to the film. It's just there.
I mean, I did like the music, like the stuff that they added to it. I thought it was funny. They added
Yeah.
to the humor of it.
Yeah, so if we look at it from that standpoint, like the sound effects and things like that, not just the score, but just that overall sound, and that's done fairly well. I think some of the splatter effects and the noises that come out when those kids are falling on stuff, it's like, oh dang.
Mm-hmm.
When they're throwing the axe, like those kind of sounds, all sounds good. But I just don't think
The
there's
slow
much of
mo
a
of the axe
yeah,
flying to release Allison from
yeah.
the.
It's like
I'm like that's impossible. But whatever.
100%. Like I
He
half
would have
expected him
like
to dig that
hit
into her
her with
hip.
it.
Yeah, like in her
I
hip,
know.
like like you know what I mean. Like he'd have hit the rope, but the axe would have been stuck in her hip.
I know, right?
But yeah, he was that was his superhero moment, man.
It was. I loved it.
So what do you think? Another 15, maybe
Yeah, that sounds
10.
good. I would give it a 15.
So that gives it a solid 70.
That's decent. Even
Yeah,
though it's an A in my
it's
heart,
a C.
it is.
Well,
It's a C based on our rubric.
I knew it wasn't gonna go well. I mean, because there's nothing really
Yeah.
that stands out about it. It's just a standard horror film. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and it's funny.
yeah, it's hilarious. If we had a comedic element, they would get it. So I'm saying the story is great, the dialogue is great, the film overall is amazing. I highly recommend you guys see it. You know, it's got 2 on the titty tally. There's 13 kills that are
I
all
love it.
every kill's great. Like, they're all ridiculous, but in the best way possible. You're like, what in the world? How'd that happen? You know what I mean? Like, it's one big movie of accidental death and ridiculousness. That's the whole thing of the movie. It's like 2 unsuspecting country good old boys get thrown into just a world of nonsense because of our own assumptions. So yeah,
Yes.
don't make assumptions about the people around you,
They
guys. Love thy neighbor and
they
all that
played on that
jazz.
really well.
Yes, they did. They did a really good job.
Uh,
Because that's 100% what it was. It was like, I assume this hillbilly is trying to kill everybody, and they were
well,
not.
he's just
So
trying to hang out at his vacation home
he was
and
just
eat
trying to
his 6
enjoy.
pounds of pickled eggs.
Oh
It's
God,
so
that's
good.
disgusting. Apparently there was a lot of those scenes. Like, I really need to get the DVD of this. There's some hilarious blooper rolls apparently of him like choking on those eggs because he had to keep eating them for those scenes. And he'd be like, ugh. He was like choking and gagging on them. I bet it's hilarious. I
Oh
need to
my
watch it
gosh.
because
That
I love all
what
these
is that on
dudes.
the Blu-ray?
I don't know. I
Is
would
that on
assume it'll be the same effects. I know I need to buy it. I'm about to look on Amazon and see if I can buy the Blu-ray. And just kind of, I want to watch that movie from the kids' perspective.
Oh my gosh, that's funny that they did that.
That's great. That's like making 2 movies essentially.
Yeah,
Plus, again,
it's so
guys,
good.
if you've not seen this movie, I mean it. Go out and get it right now. It's streaming online right now. It's worth watching just to say you've seen it. Yeah, it's like $16 on Amazon. You can get the DVD for $10. Definitely check it out, guys. It's great. We highly recommended it. I think it's the best movie to start off our horror hijinks month because,
Yes.
like, what's better than a
Mhm.
bunch of kills, a bunch of kids, a bunch of college kids is what they call them all the time. Them damn college kids
College kids.
accidentally killing themselves all over your property.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah, and there's no real evil. It's just the evil of our own assumptions, which I think is really good. It's just all
Yeah, it
around good
is.
movie. So check it out, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you think on our post. You know, send us a message. Let us know if you hated it or loved it or disagree. We're not going to agree with you, but we'd like to hear what you have to say. And yeah, with that, Jenny, you got anything else you want to add?
Should we tell everybody what our book is
Oh, yeah.
for this
As
month?
it is a new month, you know, we have a new lesson plan. Again, it's horror hijinks this month. We talk about horror comedy. So the book should be in that same vein. So we'll be reading.
We are reading. Oh my goodness, where did I put it? But yeah, it's Tales from the Gas Station, Volume 1. And it's by Jack Townsend. And if you want to listen to it, Creepy Podcast does like they read them, is what I'm assuming.
Okay.
So instead of having to like go look on like Audible or anything, you can actually go to that podcast and listen.
Yeah, it sounds really funny. Tales from the Gas Station is an ongoing horror comedy blog as told by a gas station clerk in the weirdest town on earth. So, yeah, I'm excited to start this book and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, guys.
Me too. It was
Just
a
like every
Johnny
other month.
recommendation, so we can all
Oh.
yell at him if it's not any good.
Way to go, Johnny Hill. Way to go.
I know,
So yeah,
right?
if you are going to read along with us in the Horror in the Halls book club, you can listen. You can buy the book on Amazon. It is, let me see here. Yeah, it's really paperback, $15. You can get it on the audiobook and Kindle with Audible for free if you have unlimited or Audible trial. So check it out. It's by Jack Townsend. Great book. And yeah, guys, so this will be our month. We've got a couple other really great episodes coming up, funny movies that are just classics. And I think everyone will love them. So yeah, tell them where they can find us, Jen.
You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Horror in the Halls. You can also follow Jenny_Dreffels on Instagram, and you can email us at horrorinthehalls@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, guys, we'd love to hear any opinions, reviews. At this point, we're on every podcast platform. Leave us a review. You know, we want them 5 stars, but you know, if you disagree and don't want to give us a 5-star, that's fine too. I'd like to hear your opinions, and we'll make it better and grow from there. So, yeah, guys, that's going to be the bell. We're going to get out of here.
Bye.